What is up, App Nation? It is Steve P. Young, founder of appmasters.com, the place you go when you want action-packed content related to helping you grow your app downloads and, more importantly, those revenues. And today, I'm waiting for the guest. He hasn't showed up. I had a phenomenal guest, Alex Ross, scheduled for today, and we're trying to figure out when he's going to actually show up. And so if he does show up, great. We'll do the normal interview. If he doesn't, I've got a backup plan, like I always do. So I'll answer your questions and kind of go through some of the things that we've been working on and what we've been seeing in the app space. So if you got any questions for me and you joined our AMA last week and I didn't get to your questions, leave a comment below and I'll try to answer it. Luis, thank you so much, my man, for showing up week in and week out. Daniel, good to see you, bro. Congrats on the success. And Sanchu's here. Miguel, AS, what's up? And then Priest is here as well. Okay, cool. One of the things that I commonly get is from people who are wondering, hey, what should I do? What can I do to find profitable app ideas? And so we've got a new video coming up that sort of compares all the revenue and download data from all the clients that we work with. We have some startups that are just getting off the ground, and we've got big companies that we work with making $100,000, $300,000 a month. Based off of that, we wanted to compare which Sensor Tower, mobile action, app figures, which ASO tool had the best type of results. And what we found is if it's in the 6 figures range, Sensor Tower typically has the best data. It's pretty accurate. App Magic has a pretty good data too. But when it's underneath, let's say 50,000 and Sensor Tower says under 5,000, we actually found that mobile action has really accurate data when it comes to apps, that are making probably about 6 figures a month. I'm sorry, 6 figures a year. So that's anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 a month. One of our apps that we were involved with, we were making about $8,000 to $10,000 a month with this app, sometimes 12,000, and Sensor Tower had us around that 11,000 mark. So I was like, whoa, it's pretty accurate there too. So, all right, cool. Thank you, Alok. So Alok says, can you talk about analytics tools to use for starter apps and the best events to track? Yes, that's a great question, Alok. Look, one of the number one metric that I look at, and I'm going to pull it because I used to have this. I always love visuals. You guys know me here. And then we can do app audits and kind of get into some of that. All right, here we go. Let me pull this up. Sometimes you have a string of bad luck and guests don't show up. Last week, I guess, had to cancel at the last moment. All right, here are the KPIs focus. And so look, the tools, look, go with whatever you get. Firebase might be good enough. Daniel, who we're going to do a future live stream right here. This is Daniel right here. He told me about PostHog, and he's going to kind of break down. So for those who are looking for analytics, A/B testing, Daniel said PostHog is the one, and it looks really, really cool. He showed me his data too. And I don't know if we're going to share that live on a future live stream. But Daniel, shout out to you. Thank you so much for saying this. So this, you could use Firebase, Mixpanel, PostHog is one that people like. The KPIs I'm really paying attention to. Look, I talked to somebody yesterday, and he's kind of thinking through all the stuff about what to do with his business. And I'm like, look, dude, this is all you have to pay attention to, because you can get lost in the weeds, right? Install to paywall view, that is the number one metric you pay attention to, especially if you're just starting to get going, and you're trying to make money. Okay. If the end goal is, hey, I want to test a monetization channel and strategy, then get the install to paywall view as high as to 100% as possible. Now, your paywall to trial, so almost install to trial, 5 to 10% is on average, right? These are people who are activating about 5 to 10% of all your installs activating a trial. That's really good. I've seen apps do 10 to 20%, and these are where niche apps really fall into place, right? Or maybe you've built a good brand and you're getting 10 to 20%, right? And then 20% and above, These are really, really niche apps that have been around for a long time. I've seen one app have 25% trial activation rates. Sometimes these apps tend to have hard paywalls as well. And so this is, if you're going 25 and 20% and up from install to actual trial activation, that's really, really good. Now, trial to sub on average is 30 to 40%. Anything above that, you're doing really great. And I've seen clients do 50, 60% trial, people activating trial and paying. Now, the number I tend to look at is the people who do not activate a trial. What can you do to ensure that they come back? And that's either through discounting, push notifications. One of the things I really wanted to talk to Alex about today was the way that he's got a great podcast through the Sub Club podcast, and I would recommend you guys check it out. I want to plug Alex. All right. He runs Greg.app, but it's the easiest way to keep plants alive. It's a plant care app. And what in the very beginning, what he was really focused on was what is that core loop that brings people back into the app, right? And they really focused on push notifications. This is what I learned through the Sub Club podcast was there. That's all they were focused on was, hey, I want to make sure that people come back to the app and it's water to water your plants. That's the main core loop, right? Like, all right, he broke it down really nicely. What is the trigger that's going to get people to actually download your app, right? And so for me, I like to be in the sleep sound space, stuff like that. And like, I'm like, okay, well, sleep. So think about the trigger why people would use your app. And for Alex, and this is all through the Sub Club podcast, so I'm going to summarize it for you guys. But he was like, look, when you buy a plant. So early on, and this is what I wanted to talk to him about. Early on, what he did was he really focused on people buying plants and working with people who are selling plants. Now, obviously, this partnership is really, really hard to develop, but once it works, it works. And so as people were buying plants, there would be a QR code to download Greg. And that's how they got their initial 15,000 users was through this QR code to download Greg when you bought a plant, I'm sorry. So that was the trigger. And then what's the next trigger to bring people back into the app? So what's a trigger to open the app? And then what's a trigger to get people back into the app too? So install and then open, and just keep thinking about that. And that's all they were focused on was retention in the very beginning. Because if they could figure that out, they could figure out everything else. And that's what Matthew Hall from Crossy Road told me when I asked him the question. I was like, how did you think about monetization early on for the game? And he's like, I didn't. I just thought about retention and that was it. And I figured I can make money off of that. Now for subscription apps, I think you want to get people to try to pay and trigger, right on that install. But I think for games and other apps that may have more of a daily use or a regular use type of thing, you can think about retention being a stronger metric than monetization. But I'm always going to side on the monetization route because I just feel like it sort of signals to me that built a product worth. Now, that could also mean people coming back every day, right? Like if you got a social media platform and you think he brought up the example of like Tinder, maybe I'm lonely, I need a date. That's what makes me download and open the app. For Instagram, I'm bored, I want to see, you know what I mean? I'm bored, let me just open up a social media feed. So think about the triggers of why people would open your app and then what you can do to bring people back into the app as well. Cool. All right. How to upload multiple apps, same design, but different content. Okay. Keystroke asks how to upload multiple apps, same design, but different content. Oh, man. Keystroke. So look, without giving away, because I'm like, is this a black hat? Is this against terms and conditions? All right. So this is not legal advice. Consult a legal person and all that stuff before you follow my advice. But here's what I've heard other people do is you might want to change the design. I get it. Apple was cracking down. They're not as much anymore. Let's say you have an app that is a train app, like, the train or the bus. Bus is probably better because bus is universal. You got a bus app that is for multiple cities. And so technically its content is different. You got the San Francisco bus line, you got this New York bus line, you got wherever, London, Berlin, you got these bus lines. So technically the app code is the same. The content is different, but the design is pretty much the same too. Now, you can put them. Apple will technically, depends on your reviewer, but I've seen apps that have these type of things in the same app developer account. Now, the other way is you just put them in different developer accounts too. And so be careful. It really depends on the reviewer, the App Store reviewer that you get, because sometimes they don't care. Sometimes they do care on that too. All right. Let me talk to Daniel. Are there any special tricks for marketing apps that are location dependent, i.e., only work in California? Yeah, Daniel, then yes, there are marketing tricks that you can use. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do this. So let me pull this up. This is a great question. It's a great segue. Let me see if I have all the visuals for this. All right. So if you're looking for free, I might not have that for you. All right, Daniel. But what you can do is, dang it, I don't have it. Okay, there's a couple of tricks. Number one trick for location dependent would be, let me pull it up. I go through app follow as well, but to be targeting sports teams of that localization. All right. Doesn't always work, but if let's say, and I did this with a dating app too, that was specifically in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for those who aren't familiar. So when you put Pittsburgh in here, you can see all the different keywords that come up, right? And so you can think about different things that are around your location, because Pittsburgh, for example, you got the Steelers, you got the Eagles, you got, I know that's Philadelphia, but you got these sports teams in here. You got the Pirates, Pittsburgh Pirates. So you can think about, and Penguins. Okay, I'm trying to impress you guys with my sports knowledge. These tend to have pretty decent volume and low competition. So let's just put Pirates as an example. And I'm just picking this. But then you have the parking authority. You got these keywords. And what I've noticed is, as you can see, when I put Pittsburgh Pirates, there's nobody here besides the MLB app. So what we did for a client, this was years ago, was we put Pittsburgh Pirates into the Spanish Mexico title, but the app was not available in Spanish Mexico, and we were still able to get it ranked number 2 or 3 for that particular keyword. So that's one way we were able to hack downloads for that particular location. Now, the other way you can do this too is through Facebook ads. And somebody asked me a question on Twitter, and he said, Steve, how do you run Facebook ads without the SDK? So there's actually a way for you guys to run it. Let me put this up, fix my camera, focus. So you're focused on my face. All right. So I have the visuals. Let me fix this for those watching live. Like, what is this fool doing? Okay. That's 2 weeks in a row you get just me then. All right. So Alex likely is not going to show up. Maybe we'll get him on in the future. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. No harm, no foul. Honestly, I like just talking to you guys too and answering all your questions. Okay. I'm trying to find the folder because I honestly, I like giving you guys visuals, right? Okay, here we go. I should better rename these things. All right. Okay, you're going to have to follow along then. All right, here we go. So, Daniel, if you want to focus on this, and Pat, if you're listening to this, is a shout out to you. He's in our community and he's got this question. So if you got a niche app and you don't want to put the Facebook SDK in there, there's a way to do it. You use a site called onelink.to, onelink.to. Okay. This is just a dynamic link that you can use. So what you do put in there is your App Store link. I'm trying to show you before I reveal sensitive client. So we did this for a client. Okay. It was a niche app and we used a one link, meaning if they're on iOS, it would direct them to the App Store. If they were on Google, they would direct them to the Google Store. If they're on the desktop, they would direct them to their website. So that's what the one link does. All right. It'll redirect them based off the device that they're using. All right. You go into your Facebook ads platform, and I'll see if I can pull it up right here myself on a different window. And then you run a web traffic campaign. Now, this is not a smart campaign. All right. all the Facebook ads experts will tell you you shouldn't do it this way because Facebook will just optimize for the click. But again, it works well for niche apps where your targeting is very specific anyways. All right. So that the click, these should be high intent clicks. Now, let me try to pull up my Facebook ads manager here to show you guys exactly how to do this. And then I'll show you the data of what happened when we ran this campaign. I want trying to find the data that matches up with this. All right, cool. So, all right. I did this a long time ago. I need to redo all this stuff. All right, here we go. So here's the data from one link for a client, right? And I'll show you how to do it. So you can see we only ran it for a weekend because there was a tournament happening and we just wanted to be there for this event. Now, it's not perfect, right? You do get some Android clicks, but I'll show you how to try to mitigate it. The first time I ran it, I was like, oh, shoot, I should have done X, Y, and Z. But all right, cool. So I didn't do it that way, but here's the other thing that you can see. So you pay attention to this. It's 223 and 250, right? Here's the impressions that we got from this. So I've created a custom product page or a campaign in this case. You can do custom product pages or campaigns. This is the App Store Connect. And then I gave that one link for the iOS version, that campaign ID. All right. And I will create a different video for all this if you guys are not following along, but that's what I did. All right. Then when you track it, you can see it sort of matches up. We had 216 impressions and 223 clicks on one click, but the impressions matched up with the clicks. I was like, okay, cool. That's really good. And the downloads, now I can see sort of track downloads from this campaign, from this Facebook ad campaign. Now within Facebook, you create a campaign. I'll show you guys how to do this. So you can just pick traffic, right? And then I'm just going to go manual here. So you can call it Pittsburgh campaign, right? Pittsburgh, and you want people who are vegan in Pittsburgh. All right, let's see. I'll show you guys how to do this just to make sure you only get iOS users as well, or Android. Okay. I'm not trying to be specific. All right. Ooh, this is okay. I got to make sure I don't reveal client stuff. All right. Let's change this. Man, I don't have my stuff in here. All right. I got to go to a different ad account. Anyways, let me try to go higher and try to only reveal certain things that I want to reveal. All right, so you're going to say maximize link clicks, okay? That's what you're going to do for now. You're going to send traffic to the web. I think this should be okay. All right, let's see. You're going to send traffic to the website, and that website is a one link, right? Maximize clicks, you can do that. You can pick your location here, right? And then here is where you do the options. So you want to make sure you only target iOS users. And there's an option somewhere down here that you can only target iOS users. So you create a web traffic campaign that shows up only on iOS devices. And then that really mitigates any weird Android links that goes in. And that way you can track it. So it's a hacky way of doing it that way too. And that's what I would do if you're trying to be location dependent. Obviously, California and I'm talking about states. And Facebook is the only way, is the best way. We've even, Daniel, in 2000, I want to say 16, what we even did was we targeted Facebook ads at Apple employees. So there is a targeting feature where you can target employees of, I'm trying to find it here, if I can find it. This is custom audience. Let me see if I can find it here. I got this trick from Gary V. Yeah, here we go. So, all right, I found it. Man, Facebook. All right, so you can do employee. Okay, let's just do Apple. So here, when I put Apple, you'll see employers. So you can target people who work for Apple. And what we did was we targeted people in the Bay Area location when we got to the location. and we were saying, hey, Apple, you should feature us. So it was a little trick that we did here, but you can see employees of, and let's say I love pickleball. So let's say I wanted people in who are interested in pickleball in, and you can pick the age. So now here you can pick in Pittsburgh. I should just pick California, really. Let's pick San Francisco. Come on. That's where I'm at in the Bay Area. So cool. And then you can put 50, right? If you want. Cool. Now it's super targeted. Now maybe minimum age, you want to like, you know what? These youngins don't pay. Let me go 25 and up. And you can even do this here as well. You got pickleball, right? And then you can do it by device somewhere too that I can't figure out where it is on the fly. But you can do device as well. And then that way when you're using the one link to send traffic to, you are then sending them to, you are making sure that only iOS users are seeing it. So that's how you can do it. All right. Hope that answers your question. Cool. Yeah, it's on to you. Thanks for the question. Post hog. That's what Daniel says. Look, I think there's a lot of platforms that have it. Revenue Cat, it's hard to integrate, but I've heard it's hard to integrate. Adapty has his tools too. We did it through Firebase. My developer was able to do it through Firebase, but PostHog, according to Daniel, is one of the best ones in there. I saw his thing. The pricing was good. I brought PostHog Hub to a few other people, and they're like, oh, yeah. And they're talking about all the things that they hated about, and I won't mention the other platforms. They did not like but the other platforms. It wasn't Mixpanel. I do love Mixpanel too, but there's lots of ways to do it. All right. Alok says, when should you use English keywords for all US localizations versus localizing with native keywords? Great question. It depends on your goals, right? The US App Store indexes 10 different localizations. I'm sorry, 9, 10, including the US English. And I'll pull up the slides. This is what Alok is referring to. US and then Chinese, French. So let's say France is a big market for you. That's when you probably would put French in France, or Korean, right? Great market. Maybe you want to put Korean in Korean. So you don't want to put English keywords in there, but maybe you're willing to give up Russian and use English in that, and that will help your US App Store rankings. And these do work, because what we found is when we've only had things in the Vietnamese localization as an example, it's actually been indexed for that particular keyword. So that's what you do for ASO. All right, I like this. Thank you for all the question, guys. You guys have made my life a little bit easier versus, sometimes you get surprised. You get life throws a curveball at you. All right, Pre says, how do you grow your social media versus organic marketing? Do you look at what competitors are doing and copy their content and post every day? Yeah, Priest, look, I don't know anything about social media. All right. We have a good platform on YouTube. We have a good platform on LinkedIn. Here's what I would say, though. Think about where your audience is. And this is my strategy when it comes to go to market strategy. It's one of my most popular YouTube videos, but essentially it was because I gave this presentation at an event, and I was just like, well, I have the presentation. Let me just record it for YouTube. And then it happened to be one of the most popular YouTube videos that I've ever published. So anyways, here we go. I'll share this with you when it comes to organic marketing. All right. So most people like to do top to bottom. I like to go bottoms up. All right. I like to start from right here, and it's usually a flip upside down triangle. So I try to find the audience who's the likely to say yes. You think about Alex, and I'll still plug him, but who's likely to say yes to you. So for the gray gap, it's people who are buying plants. They want to keep it alive. It's a problem we all have if you bought a plant. So who's most likely to say yes? The easiest, the quickest. You're right. This is what I really focus on. The quickest say yes. So everyone is not your audience. You can get there like Facebook did, right? It became everyone. But in the beginning, it was just Harvard. So this is why I say the biggest companies started really, really small, figuring out who their core audience was. Uber was just a black car. All right. That's all they were. They weren't even, they're trying to kind of be like a luxury item before they opened it up and everybody could drive, right? It was just a black car. And then Travis, who started Uber, in his early interviews, I heard him say he was the one driving people in San Francisco, right? Facebook was just Harvard. That was it. And so when I talk to these founders, sometimes they're like, everyone, I want to attack the world. It's going to be great for everybody. Don't forget, these guys that are huge companies started really, really small. Google was just a search engine, for crying out loud, before they had AdWords and Gmail and all that stuff and YouTube and all that stuff. It was just a search engine. All right. Don't forget, where are these people? So organic ranking, and I don't know, I might be going on a tangent here, but for me in early days, I looked at Facebook groups and I looked at LinkedIn groups, because that's where these app marketers, these app entrepreneurs were. And I would try to post free content in there to try to get them to, because these were the most likely people to potentially work with us, right? So I post free content on there. Reddit, another platform. So, and then go talk to them. For me, I like to talk to, like, I literally like to talk to people and learn from them and ask questions. So rather than always selling your product, you listen. Hey, what made you download the app? What problems do you have in the app space? And then I kept hearing, I need downloads, right? Like, can you help me? And then eventually I heard, you got me downloads, but I can't make money from them. So I really started focusing in 2019 on the monetization side of things. I was like, I got to get better at monetization, because I heard from people, okay, you got me downloads, but I had to almost shut down my business because people weren't converting. So that's when I really started shifting. So this is what I do. And then to your point, Prees, look, with social media and organic marketing, what really tipped off was, one, educate your audience, right? Talk to them and educate them. People tend to sell right away. Ask questions, listen, educate them, show a little bit of social proof that you're here to try to solve their problems, and then you can build an app. One of my older interviews was with Chris, and he built an app that helps you stop smoking weed. And what he did was he went into the Reddit community and asked people, hey guys, I'm thinking about building this app. Do you guys have this problem? And he really started listening. And then he got his early users by just saying, hey, I've got a beta version. You guys want access to it? Go ahead and give me your email addresses. And I was like, Chris, how did you like get people's email addresses? And he said, it was just a thread in the comments. I was like, what? People are legit leaving their email addresses for the whole Reddit community? He's like, yeah. And when you listen to Greg's episode on the Sub Club podcast, he'll tell you the same thing. They went into Reddit groups, they went into Facebook groups and all that stuff. And so, Priest, what I would tell you is it's a consistency thing. Social media versus organic marketing. Look, they take a while. I know you've heard of things where it's like one post and bam, it hit, right? But honestly, through the 12 years, probably 12 years that I've been creating content, consistency is key, right? I think longevity is underrated. And there were 3 different podcasts that had launched in 2013, all about apps. I still know those guys. I still remember their names if you want them, right? Daniel Bowles, Scotty Ruth. We all started talking about apps, making apps, and I did mostly interviews during their app journey. Offensive guys, I'm sure got in the way, but they're no longer around. So the other thing I would say, Prees, is especially if you guys are working on a B2B play, and Daniel is going to talk about this, but I told another person, I was like, just start sharing content, start educating your audience. And she started posting on LinkedIn, and she visited me, and I did an event in London. She came out, even though she was not from London, but she said, Steve, thank you for that advice. I have more clients than I can possibly handle. There's a lot, and I'm living proof. There's a lot you can get done in this world just by educating and not trying to sell people right off the bat, right? Hisanchu said, what are some favorable non-US markets to target? Now, obviously, this is always going to be app dependent. But one of the things, if generally speaking, I've heard like, I forgot what country it was. Brazil is becoming an interesting market. Germany is a great market too, because they've got money to spend and there's a high propensity to convert as well. So obviously Brazil interesting, and any of the like they're English speaking, but there's other markets in there too. But yeah, I would say, non-US, then I would say obviously the big ones, Canada, UK, but then I think Brazil is interesting just from a a growth perspective and users perspective, because I think that's a market that's growing, but Germany is the most interesting non-English speaking country. Obviously, Japan and Korea are pretty decent too from a conversion perspective. All right. World Tech News says, I'm trying to know the taxes federal and state and the App Store share on incomes in case of mobile app. I'm not sure. I'm not a tax person. I have no idea. So good luck with that. All right. Okay, cool. Thanks, Freeze. Okay, I wasn't sure. So it says one free app action that returns limited results, then a hard paywall to unlock it. From your experience, can it be more effective than a free trial? Any other conversion strategies? Ooh, great questions. Surreal. It would be interesting to see what your app does, but here's the numbers I have. So I've seen apps without trials work, but the majority of the time, trials do work. All right. So here's what I would suggest if I were you. During the onboarding process, give them a trial. Now, sometimes weekly works better than yearly for certain apps, especially in the photo video space. Weekly tends to convert better. And AI space, weekly has a higher LTV. All right. So test around with that. The second thing is, so have the trial on the onboarding and see what happens. Then after the onboarding, because most people will hit that X, right? So have that be a soft paywall. Then after they do that one free app action and you return the limited results, then you remove the trial. So no more trial. And that's the data point I do have where one of my previous, I'm trying to pull the data, but there's another video where we shared this and he was talking about how removing the trial, the difference between once people started using your app, okay? Once people started using your app, like you, Cyril, he removed the trial on that and A/B tested having a trial, no trial. Once people started using the app, he saw $12,000 with the no trial and $4,000 with the trial. So I think trial during the onboarding, no trial once people have started using the app. That's how I would do it. And I'm trying to find the visual for you, but I can't find it. It's everywhere. I just really have to build a search engine within my Google Slides to find all of the things I'm sort of looking for. I know where I put it sometimes. I just know I have no idea which presentation I put it in. So I apologize for that. Okay. And Damien agrees. Totally. Germany, France, Japan too, but they mostly don't speak English. Yeah. All right. Can social media PR convert to downloads? I don't know what you mean by social media PR. If you're talking about social media PR in the sense of influencer marketing, yes, but it's a risk because we've done it. The best client one of the clients we had, they brought in like 4,000 downloads, which is pretty good for a niche app, by the way. And it was a free social media post that an influencer posted on TikTok, and it counted at App Store search downloads. So be careful with these influencer marketing campaigns because your App Store search downloads can spike. And so if you look at the data, you're like, oh, wow, we must have done something in ASO. Honestly, it was an influencer marketing campaign and people were just searching for the app. And so that's the benefit of running social media ads too. The search volume for the App Store search downloads will go up too, because there will be a percentage of people, and it's a pretty decent percentage of people that would just search for your app versus actually tapping on the icon or the ad itself. And so, that's why, like, if you're running Facebook, I feel like you should look at it as a blended model, because every time we work with clients running massive Facebook campaigns, you can see App Store search and app refer downloads going this way. And so when we're trying to justify our ASO costs, we're trying to make the ASO curve go up while app refer is either down or stable, right? And that's how we can justify our ASO efforts. So that's the one. Look, getting on TechCrunch, or let's say even Product Time, really hard, might be useful, but not always useful. And it's really, really hard. So if you want to do PR, the email that has worked the best for us is just giving somebody an exclusive. And I know people tend to want to, like, what's the word? Oh, I want to be on TechCrunch, all these PR sites. So here's where I'll give you guys how we are able to get on TechCrunch right here. Let's clip this up as thought you. Here's a growth hack to get press. All right, Sanchu, clip this up. All right, here we go. So give somebody the exclusive. Share this in the past. Find a reporter that has just started in the big publication that you will go after. It's not hard to do. You go to that publication, find the different reporters that talk about the niche that you're trying to go after, and then look them up on LinkedIn and see when they join that company. So I was able to find, because these people are likely not getting as many pitches as a Sarah Perez might from TechCrunch. She covered a lot of app stuff on TechCrunch. So here's the subject I want you guys to use. I say, I use the person's name and give it an exclusive. And I tell them, here's exactly why. Now, obviously, TechCrunch loves to cover just fundraising. So I go, hey, got an exclusive for you, Megan, right up your alley, on demand and started by a minority. And I make a joke, although I'm not sure Indian American is a minority in the tech space. All right. And then here's the scoop, some social proof, X Microsoft operations, blah, 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 all that stuff. Right. No response. Norm. That's okay. I did follow up. I was like, hey, I just wanted to follow up on this exclusive. Here's the email again. And instead of just saying, I want to follow up, I copied and paste the exact email again so that she doesn't have to hit that ... button within Gmail, right? The next thing now, no response again. I wait a few days. Now, here's the kicker. If you're not paying attention, pay attention. Here we go. This is the email that finally got the response. Now, remix it, improve upon this. Don't use the exact. I said, hey, Megan, which emoji best describes your take on the story? This is the final email. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thinking about it, and poop emoji. Have some fun. That's the moral of the story. Have some fun. Show some personality. Don't be so bland all the time. You know, I used to be, as a kid, I used to be so, I didn't want to stand out. And you're like, let's just fit in, let's just look cool, and let's just not stand out. But I've noticed that, hey, this is genuinely me, right? Like, I'm going to have fun. That's why I tell dad jokes. I'm going to try to have fun. And that's when she finally responded. LOL, I'm going to go with C. Whoops, I shouldn't share her email address, but I'm going with C. And then she went with it, right? And then we had on call and everything. Boom, we got on TechCrunch. There it is. So that's how we were able to do it. And yes, it's a vanity metric. So I wouldn't do it if, look, if you want to do it, great. But honestly, like, it's okay. It's not going to make or break your business. And it's a lot of work, as you can see, to try to get on it. But it was important for this client to be on TechCrunch. So I did my best to get on it. But yeah, she says that. Here's the exact email she sent back without sharing her email address, which I guess you could take a screenshot and just get it. It's pretty easy. I'm sure Megan doesn't mind. But LOL, I'm going with C. Can we chat sometime next week? There you go. All right. Thanks, Sasanchi. All right. So let's take a look. Wasim. Hi, Steve. Hope you're doing well. For the most part, Wasim, I didn't think I would be myself today. I thought I was going to ask somebody a bunch of questions, but here I am. All right. For influencer marketing downloads, instead of dealing with specific amount, can we start with referral marketing downloads? Like if 3 persons buy, then pay. Look, Wasim, if you find the right influencer and they're hungry enough, maybe, right? But most influencers that I've been in touch with, they generally just want to get paid upfront. And if you reach out to me and said, Steve, I'll pay you to do X, Y, and Z, I would say, no, thank you. Why? Because I already make money. Don't need your money, right? I don't need the hope that people buy. Now, obviously, that might be short-term thinking because honestly, I could probably make more money doing affiliate marketing like the way you're thinking about it. So look up influencer marketing for indies on YouTube. You'll find a video I did with Dan. I think it's his name. Sorry, Dan. But he talked about how he did that. And what he did was he reached out to podcasters and said, hey, you understand affiliate marketing. You have a podcast about couples and marriage. I've got an app that helps with that. If you refer people, I'm willing to give you an income. Now, these podcasters, people creating content, they need to get paid. They don't know. So the more niche it is, the better it is. And they don't need to have a huge following. Those people are more likely to do your model, referral marketing, versus some big influencer. They just want to get paid and move on with their lives too, because it is a risk. Like it takes time to create content for you. So it's a risk for us. But these podcasters, they could just be like, "Oh, check out this app, blah, 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 blah." And then people sign up, you get paid. So it worked out really well for him, and he did a good job. And he built the back end to track all the referrals and all that stuff. So that's a little bit more complicated that I can't cover here. All right. Do you run influencer marketing in your app? What platform do you use to track the downloads and paying customers to determine how much commission to pay to influencers? I don't do it for my app. I've done it for other apps, right? It is one of the hardest things to track, dude. Hardest things. Like I just said, Priest, we had an influencer that we didn't even pay. She just talked about the app. We saw the downloads go up, but it was from TikTok, the video. But when you look at App Store Connect, it came through App Store search. People just searching for the brand of the app. That's it. That's what worked. Every time we try to replicate it, we didn't see a huge increase. So the way to run this, Priest, the best way to do this is you can give them a coupon code and say, "Hey, use Steve in the checkout," so you can track, right? The other way I've seen it done is, yeah, that's primarily it. There's another app. Oh man, what is it called? Macro Factor, I think. Yep. Okay. This is the other way you can track. This is one of the hardest things to get right. All right. Let me just show up this. So I did this video. I was like, this app makes, I don't know, $400,000 a month. And here's the channel they use. So you can see their iOS makes 400,000. I love the apps like this where it's a huge number of revenue, but little downloads. And this is what I keep talking about, people, when I say niche apps. This is the numbers I like to see. That means high conversion rate. You can charge a lot as well, right? You can have 100,000 downloads and make 50 because you're charging tiny and you can't charge more than 20 bucks. So find categories of apps that you can charge a boatload and people are willing to pay. That's in the mental health space. That's in the fitness space. These guys are willing to pay hundreds of dollars a year to get access to this. So I did a video about this. Funny enough, they reached out and said, "Steve, you got most of it right, but here's what we want to talk about." I was like, "You want to come on to the podcast?" He's like, "Maybe." So anyways, it's fun. But here, affiliate codes and promo codes. Now, this is interesting. This is all on their website, by the way, too, right? You can use the promo code. Now, once you go into the app, great design, hard paywall as well. Here is where you can say, "Did you learn about us from an affiliate?" And I hit yes, I get 2 weeks free trial. So I hit 2 weeks. I hit that yes, 2 week free trial. Now you see no changes except I get a 2 week free trial instead, right? So there, nothing is changing. Now, when you do that, it will ask you for the affiliate code. I'm trying to figure out where, but I guess I don't have anything after this. It will ask you for that affiliate code, and then you can put in the affiliate code. So that is the one way to track if you want to do it that way too. All right. And if you're just trying to run it internally by yourself and you don't have an affiliate influencer marketing agency running it for you. All right. What are in-app events and why should you use them? Thank you. Thanks, Locke. I'm laughing because Locke and Sanchi are from my team and they're just trying to help me out here, but I'm sure he gets these questions as well. All right. iOS has in-app events. Google has this thing called, I think it's called promotional content. Anyways, the reason why we use them are to help ASO. So this is one of the clients we worked with back in the day, and we went after time blocking. That was a keyword we were really trying to go after. And you can see we have this put it into the title and then the store title. And we have seen pretty decent results by having these in-app events. Is it going to get you to one from if you're 200? No. But if you're in the top 10, potentially, right? And it's low-hanging fruit. You know, that's what I like. Low touch, high impact. I'm always looking for those. That's how I grow hack stuff. Low touch, high impact. Okay. So what we saw was the conversion rate. Now, this is back in the day where in-app events only show to lapsed users. Now you can control it. I would personally still do show only to lapsed users because then it'll still help your ASO. What we've seen is sometimes the conversion rate declines because the in-app event, if you make it available for everybody, it will overtake your screenshots. And if you don't have a strong enough brand, maybe showing those screenshots is more valuable than showing your in-app event. So I would still personally do a only for lapsed users when you're going into an app event, but that's how I would do it. Now, what we noticed was the conversion rate. Now, I don't pay attention to this number. I get this question all the time. What should that conversion rate be? I don't know. Why? Because this is downloads over impressions. And does anybody know what an impression is? Most people I've talked to do not. And I'll answer that question. I was like, do you know what an impression is? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't either. All right. This is all I do. And so I don't pay attention to that number, this conversion number. What we saw was if you pay attention to the dates, November 5th to December 6th, and I just did because it was December 5th probably when I pulled this, but we saw an increase in conversion rate right here to lapsed users. So it does help out with that. And that's what I would do. And you can see, I think this is another app that we worked on too, where we saw higher conversion rate and even more downloads with this app. And I wanted to pull this because it's a big app that we were running this in-app event on too. So definitely do it. And here's the bring back lapsed users. So here's the event purpose that I would try to put here. So rather than, you can even put active users. I didn't see that, but definitely don't do appropriate for all users or attract new users, because I think the screenshots speak more to that than this in-app event. Unless you're like a big Netflix or, HBO Max and you have this crazy movie coming out, that's obviously best for everybody. But if you're a small guy, indie developer, I would probably keep it to these two and bring back lapsed users, the big one that I've always done it. Then Google Play has promotional content. That really helps with ASO too, especially on Google Play. I don't know if the things have changed, but you can only do it for apps that have over 1 million downloads. And then you do that and it does help with ASO. And so I won't show the slides there because it does reveal the client that we were working with. All right. Kadan says, do you think Apple Vision Pro apps will grow in the near future? Dan, I don't think so. I mean, look, iPad has been around for a lot longer, and even the iPad, yes, we've seen success on iPad, and we've got an upcoming video on that. But also what we've also seen is iPad doesn't have the scale that an iPhone does, because not everybody, yes, people convert better on the iPad most of the time, especially in the educational space, but that's how I feel. Look, I don't predict the future, but I do have a sense of when I'm like, holy crap. And when I saw the Vision Pro, it's way too expensive. Maybe the cost. So maybe we're like 10, 20 years out. It's just, I don't know. I just don't think until they can find an easier way, like it's just glasses, it's just nobody wants to wear this huge thing. All right. Anyways, Andrew says, I use Microfactor. I love the app. Cool. You're probably one of the $400,000 in revenue. App says, hi, Steve. I like what you do. Thanks. You should love what I do, but I appreciate the like. Oh, wow. I did not know that I could be this simple. Thanks, Steve. Makes more sense. You're welcome, man. Okay. All right. Joke time. Let's do it. Let's get into shiznit. We went an hour already? Wow. Okay. Let's get into the app audit side of the show. And we start every app audit with, thank you, Nurex, some dad jokes. All right. This is one of my favorites right now. So got that lined up. All right, Nurex. I wonder if there's some British people here. Let me know if you're British. And then let me know if you've got some bad jokes as well. And it's Father's Day this Sunday and my son's birthday. Happy birthday, Noah. He's gonna be turning 16. Crazy. All right. What do British people say when they have concern for you? What do British people say when they want to know when they have some concern? All right. Jai. Here we go. UK. UK. You okay, mate? You okay, mate? Okay. All right. There it is. And then Alok says, why was the math book so sad? Why, Alok? Oh, gosh. You guys have all these other jokes. I love it. Alok, give me the punchline. And I know there's a minute's behind. All right. While he does that, it had too many problems. All right. I like that. All right. If you want us to take a look at your app in a future live stream, just go to appmasters.com/audit, appmasters.com/audit. Hey, we're doing over 3 figures again. We're at 25 live. Thank you guys so much. Take that, Alex. Don't need you. All right. I'm just kidding, Alex. I'd love to have you back. All right. Here we go. We've got this app from, where's all my windows? Thank God. Okay. We got this app from Badar. He's got this app, engagement, environment, gameplay in general. Okay, it's called Pilot Rush. It's a game, endless, exciting, endless flying game. All right, I won't talk about the ASO. I think with games, ASO is going to be extremely hard unless you really find a keyword that's interesting. It's going to be brand that drives it. So I follow the Voodoo model. We're gonna try to get somebody from. I've talked to people from Voodoo. They really just run ads. They've got a great approach, right? I'm going to give you the Voodoo approach right now. Just the cliff notes on my interview with Voodoo. They will take a skeleton of your game, run ads on it, and it's okay. You don't need monetization. They don't care about anything. The core gameplay has to be in there, okay? The core gameplay has to be in there. You don't even need that many levels. This is the approach that I would take if I were you guys, all right? Especially if you're doing games. Don't try to build out the fully flushed game yet, okay? Especially if it's hyper casual like this one. They will run ads. They'll spend a couple of $1,000s. They'll run ads. They'll look at your day 1 and your day 7 retention. I forget the exact numbers, so don't quote me on this. They're looking from anywhere to 30 to 40%, I believe. It could be higher, but day 1 retention. And then day 7, I forget what the exact numbers are too. If you just Google Voodoo, and these numbers might have changed since we last talked, but they're looking for certain benchmarks after they run some ads. Because with games, retention is the main thing, especially your day 1 retention and your day 7. All right. Day 30, nobody really has high retention in that regard. Some games do, and they're made it really big, but really pay attention to retention. I don't talk about it much because with subscription apps, I feel like subscriptions drive retention, whereas games, retention drives monetization. So for subscription apps, monetization drives retention. We have data to prove that. And then for games, retention drives monetization. So that's the way I would look at this. All right. So with that said, let's get into the app itself. Is iOS app? Yeah, it is. Okay. Where's my phone? It's the pull the right one, mate. All right. Just going to go UK. Accent the rest of the way. Pilot Rush. Okay. Let's see. I have no idea what's going on right now. This is a little confusing. I know what you're trying to do, and you're trying to give me a bonus for coming here, and you're sort of highlighting different 3 or 4. I thought I was on day 3, Badar, because you highlighted it. I think you just highlight day 1. I know there's a special, but I would just keep it white and just be like, big bonus here, big bonus here. So he's trying to get me to do a bonus to come back every day, which I like. And then your claim button's so tiny and you made it gray. You put color in all the wrong places, bro. But okay, I'll put claim. All right, tap to start. Let's see how complicated this game is because I have no idea how to play it, but all right. Okay. It's fine. It gets a little repetitive. And look, I'm not a games expert, but this feels like Subway Surfer and your take on Subway Surfer, but like it just feels really slow. And when I really look at Color Switch, David Reichelt has become a friend of mine. I think he really did a good job because I've seen apps like Color Switch with the gameplay of things moving up and having to go through obstacles and adding the little bit of color. I felt like that was the big special sauce, the big difference because it added another layer than just this. Right now, you haven't added any new layers besides maybe different obstacles to this, besides just saying, hey, this is Subway Surfers, but with the plane. What's different? Which is where Color Switch came in and said, hey, we're going to take this other game called Flight, which I noted back then, and which was just things going up, having go through the different obstacles, and add this element of color into it. And so David really broke down his process for coming up with this. And he said he was inspired by Uno and how you can change colors within Uno. And he's like, what if I took this gameplay that I know works, like Subway Surfers, and then remix it with Uno? How would that look? And I think that's where you have to head through, because honestly, when I play your game, I'd rather play Subway Surfers. It's just done better. So That's what I would change for yours. Hope that's helpful, man. And then lastly, I do want to give you a bit of advice. If you don't believe me, here's what you got to do. Get some ratings, right? Here's one thing that has worked really well. So run the AppAdvice campaign. I know, a few people have just done it and they're like, Steve, that was great. Awesome. What you want to do is give away something within the AppAdvice. So here's one thing that worked really well for past games. And this is where you can get early users for free and test out your retention, especially in your games. Let me just do this video. Okay, here we go. Oh, let me show you this real quick. Here's what you can do through AppAdvice to help you make money as well. All right. We did this for an app, and he had a portfolio of apps, and we just kept doing it and just kept making money. It's not a whole lot, and it's not going to sustain you, but it is a very great way to drive additional revenues and downloads and test your retention for free. Get thousands of users for free. So here's the app we worked on. You can see it's loading, finding treasures, and then they go, welcome, claim your $2,000 bonus. This is what you're doing right now, Badar, right? Claim it. So we tell AppAdvice, hey, we're giving all new users a $1,000, 2,000 coin bonus. And they covered it, right? Great. The next screen, they say, do you want to double it? And so people would watch a video to download to get 2,000 additional coins. And every time we ran AppAdvice campaign on these games, he had a portfolio of a lot of games, we saw downloads and we saw more ad revenue every single time you ran it. So it's a great way to bring in organic users, test the retention of your game, but test retention of the game and then see what you need to improve or not improve within the app itself. All right, cool. Priest, what's your punchline, man? Give me your punchline. All right, can you show your app revenue again? The team. Yeah, sure. Why not? Let me get to it. I won't tell you the app itself because I have to be careful. It's like you guys ask me this all the time. You guys are like, Steve, show me stuff. Or, hey, how come your apps aren't doing well? And I'm like, dude, I don't have time to focus on everything. You want me to create content and help our clients and try to grow my apps? I'm trying to get there. So check with me in a year and I'll be there, bro. But just give me time. I'm getting there. So we're making moves. All right, here we go. It's one of our more successful apps right now that is more consistent versus the other apps. So we've been able, here are the sales. We were able to make $1,000 by itself using the ASO knowledge that we know, obviously. And then now we're recently at the 3 to 2,000. I've tried Google ads. So this profit's pretty much break even. I've tried Google ads and using UAC and SEM. So Google ads for iOS installs. So the Google ad spend is not on here, but honestly, it was a test and it didn't work. The month that it did work the best was when I first turned on Apple Search Ads Basic, and it spent more than what I could get from Advance at $1. I just noticed, this is why I try to keep things simple. Now, I could be wrong, and you could be like, Steve, this is the wrong backwards way of thinking about it. I don't know. I don't care. It's just the easiest way for me to process. I talk to clients, I'm like, should I be focused on analytics, A/B testing, all this stuff? And I'm like, how many downloads you got? Oh, 10 downloads a day. I'm like, you should be focused on getting downloads, bro. Done, right? And I did that, and I was able to make using the ASO. I did no other things, no AppAdvice hacks yet. I was able to get to 1,400 downloads a month with just ASO and make $1,000. I was like, okay, cool. Let me take that 1,000 and pour it back into growing this app on Advance. And I was like, okay, I'm willing to go $1.5 to $2 per install just to get some data. I noticed it wasn't working as well as I thought it would, right? I ran AppAdvice at the same time. Maybe I shouldn't have run these search ads. I think I waited until AppAdvice hit and then spent the money. Now it's December too, so things are expensive. Might be expensive in December, but who knows? Anyways, I ran it again January, and then I noticed that, hey, I can probably I'm making about $1 per download, right? Here's the sales, here's the downloads. Well, less than $1 per download. So I'm like, all right, well, you know what? I probably need to get to $1 per download. And I did able to do that. And I only spent $500. So I was like, okay, fine. Starting to make some money now. And then I really turned off all the other keywords except the main ones I want to target. And I turned on Apple Search Ads Basic and just said, hey, give me $1 per install and you can spend up to $1,000. Mid-month, I made more money in March than I did in February. And I was like, what the heck is happening? And that's what made me look. So that's why I'm like, Apple Search Ads Basic, really interesting. If it's a new app and it's a niche app, might work for you. Doesn't always work. We've tried it. I've suggested it to others like, Steve, it didn't work. It might work for you. It's definitely working for me. Okay. Now we've been able to spend a little bit more. Profit still right at the spot. I want to scale this app, but I don't have enough time. I don't want to be managing apps though all the time. I want to print money. I don't want to like manage money. That's the way I like to, that's the analogy I like to use. So this is right now printing $1,500. And then, you know, at the high end, it was 2,500 without me doing anything. And that's where I want to be at with most of my apps. If I have to run Facebook, I have to manage the ads and all that stuff. So I do want to try it because I want to grow this to 6, but I'm working on a 6-figure business, but I'm working on the keywords right now. And I'm really focused on the ASO. But I wasn't focused on the ASO this month. Just haven't had time. And this month I'm trying to, May and June, I'm trying to spend a little bit more time. And I'm trying to hire somebody new to help me grow the app portfolio side of our business too. All right. Hope that was helpful. Cool. Let's see. The team says how many times we can show app open ads in a shopping type app in a day and dose. The team, like, app open ads, obviously it's an app open ad. So hopefully the first time you open it, I know the layout is different for those who know, you know, but I've seen the Camera Plus app show it multiple times. So look at the Camera Plus app and do it. I don't know what the right number is. And you have to really look at your numbers for ads. Too much might just lead to lower retention. So you have to find that right fine balance of, all right, I can show it this many times without hurting my thing. So the video that we have coming up, Camera Plus, I have data now, but when I recorded it a couple of weeks ago, it's going to be released probably on Tuesday. Anyways, just a sneak peek at that. It does work. Okay. So what I'm about to show you does work. I shared it on social media and my team even reported back to me. It's like, yeah, we used to do this at our old company. I was like, oh, cool. So here's what you can do. The team, you can, so Camera Plus, I'll give you guys the data. Again, it's going to be a video, but they're making $30,000 a month, 70,000 downloads. This is not the ratio I want to be at, but they're probably making money on ads, right? So you can see the weekly works really well. Like I said, photo and video weekly does pretty well. Here's our onboarding, pretty basic. And then their onboarding also has ads, banner ads. Now, personally, I have no data. This is just my personal preference, which I could be dead wrong on this. I just think the continue and the banner ad is too close together. Now, why I don't want to be this risky is because if AdMob says, hey, there's a lot of click activity and it could be fraudulent, you could get your AdMob ad account suspended because AdMob will see too many high clicks. So I would personally probably move it a little bit higher up here. It still does what it needs to do, but it does work having these ads during the onboarding. Now, again, I share this on social media and some people are like, oh, I wouldn't do it because it would lead to lower retention. That's your opinion, bro. The data says it does work. It drives more revenues. All right. So anyways, I hate when people just say, I wouldn't do it because I don't care about your opinion. Anyways, here's the ad that they show. So they show a paywall. You don't see the little X. They show me an ad. They then go to the onboarding and show more ads, which is insane. Another paywall, and then boom, you're off a tutorial and then ads again. So that's how the camera app works, the Camera Plus app. So I would say try the onboarding. My long way of saying try onboarding ads versus you going too crazy with the app open ads and killing your retention. I didn't mind any of this. I hit X. I said no to your paywall. Go ahead, show me an ad. I get it. You know, for me, I get it. But that's maybe because we're too inside baseball. We're too involved in this app game. But I really like this. I was like, I just thought it was interesting. You know, when I see this, is this brilliant or crazy? That's the questions we should be asking, not being like, I wouldn't do this. Yeah, I wouldn't pay for an app during the onboarding experience without ever using the app. I wouldn't do it either, but it works. So I don't care what you would do, is how I normally say this stuff. I don't care what I would do too, frankly. All right. Steve, what do you think about iOS 18 with AI features? I think it's cool. I haven't kept up to date. So you guys tell me. All right. All right. I got the punchline from Priest. Why don't skeletons fight each other? They don't have the guts. It's the delivery, my friends. It's the delivery. I have one more for you guys. Someone asked me, because WWC just happened. So somebody asked me if Steve Jobs would have been a better president than Donald Trump. Would Steve Jobs make a better president than Donald Trump? Obviously, he would. And the answer is that's like comparing apples to oranges. There you go. That's a good one. All right. Alok says, if I find a keyword with a popularity score of 30, which no one else is using their title, how many daily downloads can I expect considering my app is new? Great question, Alok. I think around 30 to 50 downloads a day. That's my hunch. That's only because we have one app. We're looking for 2 keywords in that 30 search range and is getting about 100 to 150 downloads a day. So just cut that in half. That's how I would say it. But you have to be number one. You have to be number one. And if nobody's using the title, you can likely get to number one pretty easily. All right. Data over feelings. Yep, exactly. Says, I created a fortune telling app, but I haven't published it yet. Based on your experience, will I have problems with marketing? Does Instagram allow for esoteric advertisements? Actually, it's tarot. I think you'll be fine dating, and they've relaxed some rules on that too. You'll be fine. I've worked with astrology apps as well and tarot card reading apps, and we haven't had a problem with marketing on, I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. I think you'll be okay, but test it out first, right? Run some ads, sending them to the website, then you'll know right away. Like, I like to shortcut everything. What can I get done with what I have? Always ask yourself that. What can I get done with what I have? And that's the motto I've always lived with. So honest, like when people say, here's my approach to app marketing, right? I've got a huge budget, Steve. Help me spend it. It's easy. I mean, that's not hard, right? And these guys, and I've worked with a lot of these big companies, they're way more patient than all you out there, right? Me included. They're more patient. Like, oh, no problem. We're just testing. They got money to spend and they've got time to test. We don't. And so that's why I come up with different growth hacks like this AppAdvice campaign, because I'm like trying to figure out what I can get done with very little. If I have a lot, it doesn't inspire creativity for me. So apps, what I would say is, based on my experience, go test it. Who cares about my experience? Go test it out. Go to Facebook, send them to a website that you built in a day or even using AI, and just see if they can send traffic to the website. You don't need to spend more than like $10, $20 a day just to see if that works. If it works, great. I can run these type of ads, right? There you go. Have that mindset. All right, Rayhan says, how can I scale and increase my ad mob revenue for my app? Now, everybody's talking about weight loss and you talking about weight gain. Interesting niche there. So congratulations. What's his name? Rayhan. Congratulations, Rayhan. 100,000 downloads. That's a pretty cool feat. You guys have a lot of fitness apps in the space. So really cool. I like it. Let's take a look at your app, shall we? You said, how do I scale it? How do you scale it? I mean, there's easy ways of scaling it. It's really obvious. Okay. Thank you. We hit 150. Woo-woo. Good job, Steve. There. It's a point for you. 2 points. Give him another point. 153. Awesome. Thank you, guys. I'm really humbled. Now I'm going to just expect over 100 people to show up every week now. All right. That's my expectations. All right, Rayhan. So there's easy ways to scale. Look, I do think I've worked with apps making over 6 figures a month just with ASO. 6 figures a month. That's 100,000 plus downloads and revenues with just ASO. Nothing else. All right. We've got apps that we work with making 2, 3, millions of dollars just with ASO. Now, granted, they started a little far back ago. All right. So just keep that in mind. I do feel like ASO can scale any app to about 5 figures a month, about $10,000 a month. All right. Which afterwards, you're going to need paid marketing. So we did one of our most popular live streams from last year is from Yulia, and she was the CMO of Replica AI, great app. And she said, how do you scale any app to 1 million monthly, one MRR, right? Monthly recurring revenue, 1 million. That's 7 figures a month. Okay. And she says, just the formula is easy. Facebook ads. All right. So for you, it could be Facebook ads, Google ads, Facebook ads for Android downloads a lot cheaper, and just really going after that. And so you get to a certain point where you have ASO kicked in. And guess what? When you have UA, ASO becomes a lot easier too. So it all ends up helping each other. All right. And all the apps, and we even work with like bootstrap entrepreneurs running their own Facebook ads campaign, spending $400 or $500 a day on Facebook ads and doing pretty well. So that's how you scale it. You just have to know your numbers, how many installs. And that's why I try to keep things simple. What can I get afford per install to make me money? And for me, it was just $1 for this particular app, right? So, okay. So that's how you scale. It's that simple. It's not that hard. All right, let's get into the AdMob revenue side of things. I'm not an AdMob expert. I kind of just, I'm not an AdMob expert. I rely on others to tell me. So don't ask me like specific questions. I have no idea. I just try to time it with where I can show ads. All right, weight gain, the #1 female weight gain app. I like this. Are you a beginner? I'm probably advanced. I'm gonna pretend like I'm a woman. Pounds. I am not a big dude. 48 pounds. What is that in kg? Oh, whatever. What's your target weight? Yeah, beyond my weight, but okay. Let's go. Oh, I want to gain. Okay, let's go 155. Probably. See, depending on the market that you're target, I think I know how tall I am. I think it's 160. Let me pull it. Oh, 170. All right. But again, if you're going after the US market, man, we have no idea how tall we are in centimeters. Anyways, how old am I? I'm 44. Okay. Yep. So again, because it's Google, you can think about adding ads to that onboarding experience. Test it out, see if it might work for you. Test it out. All right. Now with Google, yes, the prices you have to be careful. Here's what I also think too, Rayhan. I don't know if you've been watching my videos and this is why you have a long paywall. I'm just going to assume you have. And then, because I don't think anybody has been talking about long paywalls but me, frankly. But the thing that I would change is just remove this. If it's not converting well for you, remove it. If it's working pretty well, then keep it, right? The thing about the bait, I don't want them to know what I can get away for free. Now, this is Android, so test it to see if it'll perform better than what you currently have. It's Android, and the reason I say because it's Android is because Android users don't want to pay. So maybe you need to show them what they can get away with for on the free plan and figure that out. What you're also so everything else is good. FAQ, I might just add the FAQ if you're just going to go long anyways. I would also put like a decoy plan in here too, meaning with other fitness apps that we work with, the best plans is 3 that converts the highest. Adapty and Superwall said that. So 1, 3, 12, 1 month, 3 months, and 12 months tends to be the best for fitness apps. All right. So now you can have a decoy plan of, let's just say, $20 for the 3 months, which, maybe that's not, the math doesn't work, but let's say $10. You just want 3 options so they can either pick the cheapest one or the most expensive one. And another thing to test would be, rather than try to make your monthly look cheaper, could you potentially make your monthly look more expensive so that people see $48 versus $3, $4 a month? So when I'm comparing $2 to $4, this is just a hypothesis I have, but when I'm comparing this, when the way you're laying it out, Rayhan, when I'm comparing $2 to $4, I'm like, that's not that big of a difference. I'm going to sign up for the $4 ones because I don't want commitment. But when I see 30 versus 48, I might be like, And then you can even bump this up to $5, and you see 30 versus 60. I know that's 50% off. I'm like, interesting. So when I see 30 versus 60 versus, 1 versus whatever, 2, I'm always going to opt. Me personally, I don't have enough data to say this. Me personally, I would just opt in for the monthly one because it's shorter commitment. It's only $4. And I don't know if I'm going to stick with it. So anyway, test that. But I would go with 3 plans. I'm gonna hit X. Oh, there's been no ads. You gotta put some ads, bro. You gotta put some ads. All right, let's see what we can get done. Okay. I was hoping. Okay, there is the ad. That's what I'm hoping for. I thought I would get to an ad. I think I would go with banner ads. Look, here's what I heard from what I remember from my interview with Christian Calderon. I think I said that right. Shout out to you. He was the CRO, Chief Revenue Officer of Ketchup back when I interviewed him. He's gone to do his own companies. But anyways, during the interview, he said the number 2 generating ad format was the banner ads for Ketchup. So really think about banner ads. I think for an app like this, you're going to use it frequently. You're probably going to start workouts, and maybe you're going to show another ad when I start a workout. Maybe not. I love me a glute bridge, by the way. I'm getting old, man. I need to stretch out my back. So think about an ad before I hit the video, right? Like you can be like, do you want to unlock this and watch an ad? Or do you want to pay us? And most people will watch an ad. So you can think about that as I get into some of the lock content, like right here, right? I'd say I might test that out personally. I might be like, watch an ad or pay for this exercise for the lock content. And most people would watch a video ad. So that's a great way of increasing your eCPM, getting more people to watch a video ad in there as well. All right, cool. I want to see what happens and see if you have an app open ad on the second open. Yeah, I think this is a great opportunity. Maybe this is you loading the app open ad. Okay. Yeah, this is the app open ad. Okay, good job. For those who asked about the app open ad, this is the visual for the app open ad. All right. I gotta say, you know what I love about niching down into the app space? Like I know a lot of shit in the app space. And so it's pretty insane. All right, let's get into the end. Oh my God, 165. All right, I'm not smoking here. I'm gonna take this visual. I'm gonna smile. It's 165 from what I can see right now. Let's see how high we can get it before I take the screenshot. Tell your friends, open another browser. All right, I'm gonna take the screenshot right now. Oh, somebody left. How dare you? Rude. All right, there. Take that screenshot. How dare you person leave? It's not cool. I had 165 and you left. All right, cool. Got it. All right, let's have some fun. All right, let's get into some of the questions before we say goodbye. Nurex says, Dear Steve, dear Nurex, if app is new, should we grow? Okay. Okay. If you have your Nurex asks, if I have a new app, should I go after less competitive keywords and slowly go after high competitive keywords? Nurex, yes. And I'm not just saying that, I'm actually doing this. And that's what the app I just showed you, the revenues, is going after low competition keywords. We're able to get it to number 1 for a few of the low competition keywords. And then now we're trying to focus on the high competition keywords as well. All right. Now, one of the things I am testing, I'll save it for the Academy people in there as well. All right. Pritam says, how to identify what kind of ads to run and what not to run? Is there any guide I should refer to? Great question. So one, the big 4 are always going to be Apple, Google, and Facebook. Now, a lot of people just default to Facebook and Meta ads. All right. So if you just do that, you'll be fine because a lot of people will run that. There is an AppsFlyer service that I thought was really interesting. I haven't done a good enough job, and it's called Benchmarks, of looking through, because I have all these clients, right? And I have all this data. So I haven't looked at what they would suggest, what they're actually doing and what's working for them versus what AppsFlyer is suggesting. But I trust AppsFlyer. They have a lot of data, and so I'm going to go off with them. So I did this for a finance app that we're working with, but I picked finance. They're in an investment space. They're in personal investing. I'll just say that. It's iOS, ATT scan, global, app size, blah, blah. You get data. It doesn't work for all categories. But what AppsFlyer will tell you is, so they'll tell you all the conversion things that they're doing, right? In-app events, all this stuff. I don't really understand this chart. So AppsFlyer, I have no idea what you're trying to do. This shows the share of apps that are using a conversion value configuration based on AppsFlyer conversion studio models. Don't know what that means. Okay. But anyways, whatever. Maybe the percentage of apps using AppsFlyer that are tracking their funnel. I have no idea. In-app events. Okay. But here's the more interesting thing. Here's their recommended media partners. They have Apple Search Ads, which I agree with, Google Ads, TikTok, And so we did have one client in the finance space that was doing pretty well with, I think we're mainly doing ASO for them, but they were doing pretty well on TikTok. So this is what all I'm trying to do is compare what these guys, what AppsFlyer is telling us versus what our clients are doing and showing. So that's how I would do this. Go to this AppsFlyer benchmark thing. All right. Hey, get that number back up, man. It was 166. Now it's 164. Now that's all I'm focused on. All right. Difficulty score. Oh, here. ZepPro, I like your freaking thumbnail, man. ZepPro says difficulty score seems inaccurate across all ASO platforms. What's the best way to determine difficulty intuitively? All right. Look, the difficulty score, the tool that I feel like has the best difficulty score. You ready for it? I have data for this. Where is my drum roll? Don't have it anywhere. All right. Well, don't have the drum roll. Is AppRadar. AppRadar tends to have the best difficulty score. Now, intuitively, the best way to do it, let's say you find a keyword like Alok said that has around search traffic of 30. Do a search for that. Go into AppFollow and just do a search for that. And if nobody's using their title, then intuitively, ZepPro, you can rank really well for that particular keyword. Just see how many apps in the top 10 have that keyword you're targeting in their title and subtitle. And nobody has it, you get to number one. And we've been able to do that for a few of our clients, for a bunch of our clients, and even our own apps. When I find these keywords, I don't care what the difficulty score is from any of these tools. I get them to be number one really, really fast. Okay. Narendra says, any idea what to do with negative reviews complaining that the app is expensive? Got an app for niche functionality. I see users are subscribing, but also see users complaining about the price. So there's two things you can do. Not care about them, right? That's pretty obvious. Not care what they say, or test your pricing, right? Maybe add discounts in there during the onboarding so that the people who are asking, saying that the price is too expensive, will see that it's not that bad. You have a discount too. We're at 172. I took another screenshot. All right. I can do two things at once. The other thing I would do is, if it's Android, it's a common complaint that all Android users have. So play around with the price or give them the discount if they say no to that initial price. Obviously, there's people saying yes, some people saying no. So give them the discount. Maybe you can offset some of these people who don't want to pay in there as well. And then maybe you reply to that email and say, hey, if it's too expensive, I'll let you pay whatever you want. Just email me and we'll figure it out. Maybe you try that, and then they can change that negative rating into a positive rating. Maybe you'll get more people emailing. I don't know what I don't know right now, but that's something that I would do. All right, well, how much do you think it's worth? I'm happy to give you that discount. Just email me here. And you can then start testing out what people are asking is the right price for that. All right, I might try to do that. If someone to start AI chatbot, what suggestion you have for them and what features he need to build to beat the market? Just said, hey, if I'm trying to build an AI chatbot, what would I have to give them and what features? We are building an AI app. It's already built. I just need somebody to do the onboarding, paywall, and all that stuff. Start in the niche, man. We have big AI apps that we're working with, whether it's chatbot or image generators, they're all running UA campaigns, all of them. So if you want to compete with them, and we have some that we work with that we've helped grow that are running purely on organic. The ones that are running purely on organic that are printing money rather than managing money, we focus on the niche. So focus on the niche keywords, find them. It's not a good idea to show crazy ads to make users subscribe. Okay. The data. Is that your opinion or is the data? All right. Apps says, I have one more question. Is it true that if we don't advertise the app after publishing it, it'll be very hard to do ASO later? Should we start marketing immediately after publishing? No. And I have the data to report it. Now, somebody did say back, ask me like, hey, I've noticed anecdotally that if I don't advertise for my app, Apple will slowly start declining it. And I did see an app do just that. So that could be true. That could be true. But I've also seen other apps rank really well for a lot of keywords that I'm like, how are they still, and they haven't been updated in 2 years. Like, how are they still number one? So is it true? Might just be Apple playing around with their algorithm. And I'm not here to guess. But what I will answer apps is I didn't promote anything that first month. I was able to make $1,000, right? Just doing ASO. So I don't think you need to necessarily. We've seen apps grow without having to. Yeah. So I don't think you necessarily need to, but you might want to consider it. And if you want to try to grow it as well. So you might want to consider it, but I've seen other apps not have to do that. All right. What's up, Samuel? Good that you make it, even though you're late. What do you think about native iOS versus cross-platform? Should indie devs focus on iOS market or both iOS and Android? So indie devs focus on iOS market because, frankly, Android folks are just not going to pay, right? And most people on Android just don't pay. If you're an indie and you're just trying to make a little bit of money just to pay for yourself and just like, make a decent living, print money, maybe $2,000-$3,000 enough, where depending on where you live, that's cool with you, right? So that's all you need. Go iOS. A lot of indies that I work with, they don't even have an Android version, right? Nick Moore from Super Wallet said he had his dad joke was, why did the developer build an Android app? Just to prove that you cannot make money from Android. Whoops. Wrong buttons. That's the right button. All right. The team. Who's this? The team. Hello, are you there? Get out of here, bro. I have an Android app, which is almost 1,400, 2,000. I want to sell them. How much will I get? Usually about 2 to 3x your revenues. So I'm sorry, 3 to 5x your annual revenues. So just multiply that. Holy cow, we made it to 179. Let's take the new screenshot. I went down. Dang it. Oh, well. Here's a new one. Nobody leave. There you go. All right. Let's have some fun. All right, guys. That is it. All right. We're going to do another one like this. I'm having fun doing these things where we answer your questions. So we're going to do something a little bit different next week. We're going to talk about all your questions more on the technical side. So you got technical questions about features, product. I'm bringing my friend Haim, who I've known since 2013. He's one of my first ever sponsors of the podcast. I appreciate him. I'm always grateful to the real ones who were with me from day one. Haim's coming on. He runs b7dev.com. So if you're looking for an app development shop, they are very affordable and they're really great. It's b7dev. The letter B, the number 7dev.com. But Haim and I are going to come on, talk about some of the features, build an MVP, how to find good developers. I want to ask them about that and answer all your technical and if you got questions for me, marketing related questions. Thank you guys so much. We made 176. I think last week we did 175. So this is awesome. I appreciate you guys so very much. I don't take this audience lightly. So keep at it. Let me know what you need in the future. I have no great way of ending this, but have a great weekend, everybody. And I'll see you next week and every week, every Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific.